What's up everybody and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. And it's official, I have just been in Kaiju freaking heaven. Like many of you guys, I've been waiting for this movie for a very long time. This is my official review of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Let's take a closer look. As you guys know, I'm a huge Kaiju fan, and more specifically, I'm a fan of Godzilla. In fact, as I mentioned in previous videos, one of my earliest memories was watching Saturday Sushi Cinema when it was nothing but giant monsters, and it was awesome, which is why I was so excited for this film. Now, let's get the obvious out of the way first. One of the criticisms of the original film was that Godzilla simply didn't get enough screen time, and when he did engage with the Mewtwo's, it was kind of like a tease. They would pan away, and we wouldn't know what the outcome of the battle was. Well, it looks like the filmmakers actually listened to the audience this time, and there is significantly more screen time for Godzilla. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of time where you're not actually seeing some of these monsters, but what they've done here, which was a very big flaw in the first film, is that they actually made the characters a lot more interesting, not to mention that the exposition is steeped in lore and the mystery behind these monsters. Their explanation and why they're returning was absolutely fascinating and actually made sense from a narrative standpoint. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's going into spoilers, but just know that it's a lot more interesting and a little bit more plausible for a monster movie. Now, at the beginning of the film, I was already calling Wayaba because there was something about the film that actually didn't make sense, but there's a lot of twists in this movie, and when it finally comes, it makes what happens at the beginning of the film make a whole lot more sense, and I thought, okay, I can buy that. But just know that narratively speaking, there was something that didn't quite make sense, and I thought to myself, that shit wouldn't happen in real life. But then again, after they explained the reasoning behind it and some of the motivations of the characters, it actually made a lot more sense, and I thought it was pretty clever on their part. Now, the real strength of this film is kind of two aspects. First, this is probably one of the most diverse casts we've seen in a film in a very long time, where there is no one single lead, which is fantastic. And also, the stellar cast just in general, especially Ken Watanabe. He really brings a lot of gravitas to this film. What I really appreciated as well is that no one character is a caricature of themselves, especially how they portrayed the military. One of the criticisms I had of the original film is that they had these kind of stoic military types that are always at attention, and that's not how it works. And you ask any military personnel and they're not always standing like that, and I thought that was really important in this film. People made mistakes and they did things out of emotion and irrationality, and it made them more human. One thing that did kind of bother me, and I assume it was for emotional impact, is that one of my favorite characters actually got Boba Fetted early on in the film. Now, that could have just been because this person may have been working on another contract or was contracted to work on another film, but I thought, what the hell just happened? It was so quick. But whatever, that's what happened. It was also really cool to see how many Easter eggs and how many nods to the original films from Toho were in this film, and it was so cool trying to pinpoint them out. I really liked that aspect of it because, again, I grew up watching those Toho films. Now, the directing here is amazing. I love the cinematography in this film, the sense of scale that they put into it, especially in the action scenes, where you really have two dynamics. You have the massive juggernauts and titans going at it, and you also see it from the perspective of the humans. I mean, they look like little ants. It blends seamlessly, and it is so amazing. The level of tension in this movie had me gripping the seat or the armchair throughout the movie, especially in one incredibly tense scene. The other really amazing aspect of this film was that every single kaiju, every monster in this movie had his moment to be revealed, and it was simply breathtaking. The way that they did it was friggin' awesome. Now, is this a perfect Godzilla film? No, of course not. There are a couple questionable decisions, and when the Titans do throw down, it is satisfying, but I wish they could have done a little bit more. But is it as frustrating as the first film? Absolutely not. And we do get a very nice climax to this film. Overall, though, this is a very good movie. The characters are interesting, the narrative makes sense, the exposition in this film is something you're engaged in and want to know more of, the action sequences are amazing, this movie is incredibly tense, the kaiju are colossal, and when they throw down in this movie, they freaking throw down. Ultimately, I highly recommend this movie. It's so entertaining, and it's definitely something you want to sit down in the movie theater so you can listen to it in that awesome surround sound. Alright everybody, so that's my official review on Godzilla, King of the Monsters. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.